there's people like, even I constantly show off my gibbon at work to my colleagues. And so I have like all these beautiful photos of them. You can check them out
It's
on
like when people show
Instagram.
show
Like,
pictures of their kids, and I'm
yeah,
like,
no,
here's
no,
my dog.
yeah. Hey, I have kids and dogs, but the only pictures I show are my dog pics to people.
We're recording live from Ottawa.
Welcome to Let's Boop Snoots.
My name is Vero.
And my name is Heidi.
And today we are going to talk about The Pack, the show that is on Amazon Prime. And we're going to talk about some celebrity doggos.
Mm-hmm. Like celebrities and their dogos.
Yes.
So we have to throw up a spoiler alert because we are going to be talking about The Pack. If you haven't heard about The Pack, it's basically an Amazing Race reality show with people, not only people, but their dogs with them as well. So challenges that the dogs have to complete. And I really liked it. Did you like it?
Me too. I did.
I wasn't sure how they were. I wasn't sure how they were going to do it with the dogs and stuff, and I didn't really know what to expect, but it was very Amazing Race, like similar.
Yeah.
Except it was super cute. Like I find a ton of shots of like dogs running in slow-mo and their fur like all over the place. And
Yeah.
it made me laugh like so hard.
And at some point, I guess Jax was like the youngest dog there.
Hmm.
And I don't know if you've noticed, like sometimes there were shots where he was like really acting like a puppy.
Yes.
He's like really jumping high, and
Yeah.
it's
Jax
like,
is a golden
puppy
doodle, or
brain.
not a golden doodle, a golden retriever.
He
But
definitely still has puppy brain.
yes. So they did a lot of cool things on the show, and it's funny because I sort of logged on to read some of some other people's reviews like on the show, and so, like there's television critics who I find are a lot more harsh about like how things are filmed and stuff like that, and they thought some of the like dog aspects like sort of took away from it, but also like added to the show, which I thought was being a bit particular because I think like any of the like cheesy stuff that went down or like weird TV stuff was like totally covered by the fact that it was like all these like super cute dogs and you were like, ah,
Yeah.
puppies. Like,
Yeah.
and which is pretty much what they said in this review, which made me laugh. She's like, and they did this and this and this, but then like puppies in costumes, like,
Exactly.
which was like super cute.
And these dogs were trained.
Well, yes.
They had some training sessions before the show.
Yeah. I was going to talk about
so.
that too. So that's another cool thing that they do. Cause like I was watching it and thinking like this would have required a lot of like prep work with your dog to do it. And you could sort of tell on the show like who really practiced and did it well, and the other and the other ones that were probably like, oh, like we'll do this, but he's just not good. You know what I mean? They like I thought it was very
definitely.
I was very able to tell like who did a lot of the training work like beforehand.
Yeah.
And
I kept thinking about like how would Wiggum do with this challenge?
So
there's some that I'd be like, oh, he'd be really good at this, like the piano one.
Yes.
He would have been really good.
Yeah.
But then the soccer ball one.
Yes.
I don't think he would have been very good at that.
Well, again, it all like I wonder how much specific like training they were told to do. You know what I mean? Like he needs to know how to. I wonder if they had a list of things like where it was like, okay, they need to know how to push things, like, and maybe they weren't particular about it.
Yeah, and
they need to know
rope.
how to put, how to tug, and a lot of it was like dogs tugging things. Like, well, we'll talk more about the different challenges that they had in a bit. But one thing that the show did really well. They were they put in these little snippets. So they had an entire dog safety team. And before like a challenge would be coming up, like they would explain, the host of the show, who is an Olympic gold medalist, I believe, Lindsay, what's her last name again? I totally forget.
Oh, I can't remember. She's
I know.
skiing.
Well, yeah, she's for skiing.
Olympian.
So she would like introduce what the challenge was, explain it all and stuff. And then sometimes like, and several times throughout the show, they would have the dog safety person talk about it. So they would say, so beforehand, the dogs, and they would show snippets of like the pre-training program that they did
Mm-hmm.
prior to the show. And they would talk about all the different safety things that they put into place. And I think they probably had to do that. Number one, anytime you do any kind of like movie or anything involving in animals, you get a lot of blowback from, you know, like PETA and like
That's
different
right.
organizations and stuff. So I'm sure they did, like they threw that in there so that, you know, they didn't have like animal protesters like outside their building and stuff like that. But it was also neat to hear about like all the different things that they put into place for the safety of the animals too, because it's like some of the stuff I was like, I wonder if I could have gotten Gibbs to do this, you know, like
Yeah.
the like being like harnessed up and doing, like there was zip lining
The
in the
zip
show.
lining,
Yeah,
yeah.
there was like what do you call it, like when you're rock climbing but you go down, like
Like
there's that.
not propel.
Yeah, yeah, like
You
or
propel?
repel, propel or
Repel.
repel. Rappelling down
Repel,
a
I think you'd be
waterfall.
going up.
Yes. But no, like the challenges were very extensive, and there was stuff where it's like they travel to some pretty like major cities with a lot of things going on. And I think if you're not a dog person, you may take that for granted, like how much work that takes. Like an example was they were in Mexico City for, and one of the challenges was there was this big Day of the Dead festival going on. So there's a like a huge ton of people in this square, all with painted like skeleton faces and wearing huge hats and very big bright costumes, a lot of music going on, a lot of families. It's like
Yeah.
almost like a parade. And they had to find on some of the puppets that the people were carrying around, which again can be another frightening thing for a dog. So there's just like overloaded with distraction. And the dogs,
Yep.
and then I forget what the dogs had to do, but even just keeping your dog's focus in an environment like that can be really, really difficult.
Yeah.
And same thing, like just like all the different places they went to, there's one challenge where they were in Austria and they had to go to several different hot dog stands to collect, and the dogs had to do a trick to get a hot dog, and then you had to
Oh,
bring
yeah.
a hot dog back to this restaurant where you got your next clue once you collected like however many hot dogs. Again, they had been running like all day. They had been now running around this city at night, super loud, like they were in Vienna, and running around all night with like all these distractions. There's bands playing, there's people walking by, they're at a hot dog stand where I'm sure it smells like amazing to them. They're like probably like,
Mm.
give me a hot dog. And getting your dog to perform tricks for the hot dogs, like it, so it was
And
eh,
like
yeah,
the dancing that they had to do, they had to twirl and then
yes.
yeah.
So there was a lot of really neat, I thought they did a good job on figuring out how to incorporate the dogs into the challenges. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yes.
but they you would have had to nail the show, you would have had to really, 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 really work on it. And
Yes. Especially like the dogs focusing on their owner
yes,
when it's like running around and there's so much going on and then all of a sudden like they need to do a command.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and just like the dancing, like there's people all around and there's music and it's
Yep.
loud
Hmm.
and they have to do these things with their owner, like twirling and then all sorts of stuff.
Yep. And
So they really need to focus on what the owner is asking them to do.
yeah, exactly. And you could see at certain parts and stuff like that where you could tell that the dog was tired. Like you know, it gets to a point sometimes where even like when I was training Gibbs, when they start to just like not be getting it anymore, it's because they're tired. It's just like asking you to write an exam, like when you've been up for like
Yeah.
24 hours and stuff like that. And they, another thing they talk about, because they're flying from city to city, is that they would give them a day to adjust, like after the travel and stuff like that, because traveling is stressful for humans,
It
like, and
is.
dogs, right? Like, and being on a plane that long and stuff like that. So although they looked pretty comfortable on the planes, like they got like a lot
They
of
did.
space, they had their own seats. It was
Yeah.
super cute. But what, like, did you find yourself right out the get-go, Vero, like cheering for like a certain dog?
I felt like I was jumping around.
Yeah.
Like I want like this dog to win, and then all of a sudden I was like, okay, I want this dog to win, and it
Yeah.
just kept switching.
Yeah. For me, like because like I right out the get one thing that I will say, this which may take us in a completely different direction here, is I found it biased towards the smaller dogs. And if you notice, again, this is a huge spoiler alert, people, but none of the small dogs make it to the end.
No.
This was like a big dogs competition.
Yeah, I feel like some of the challenges would have been hard.
Yeah, I think
Like the challenges that were later on also.
yes, like
Yeah,
asking a little
like
dog.
pulling
Well, yeah,
pulling you on a sled.
yeah,
I don't know what they would have done.
I don't know. Yeah, it's true. You're right. You're right. But
In the snow. Ah.
I found so yeah, right out the get go, there was this like guy from like the from Utah, I believe, and he had this. It's a blue tick coonhound. So like that's
Mm-hmm.
I'm I'm sure you guys have heard me say time and time again. I am the hounds have a special place in my heart. So I was like, and so he has this hound named Dixie, but like as like the show progressed. Oh my God. Like all you could hear every scene was that friggin' dog howling. Every scene. Like to
Yes.
the point where I was like, I wonder if they had to like edit this like to the max because like I don't think they had very much footage and even it got to the point where the contestants were saying stuff about it like you could hear where she was in the show. So
That's all you could
when
hear.
when
Yeah. She even helped somebody find their way to the finish
yes she
line
did because they're like
because
oh
that's they
there's
could
Dixie
hear
because
her.
like literally nonstop it's like roar 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 it's like this big like deep like howly like and to the point where it was like borderline getting on my nerves. Like watching the show, I was like, oh my God, that friggin' dog. Like she just
Yeah.
would not ever stop barking. And when, like you said, like, yeah, when people were approaching the finish line, they were like, yeah, I was like running towards, I didn't hear Dixie. So I thought for sure we were going to be in first place. Like, and then
Oh, it's
they're
too
like, we were
funny.
just about to come up over the hill. And then I heard that, boo, and I thought, damn, like we didn't make it. Like Dixie was like a total like not incognito dog. Like there was no being subtle
I
about
don't think I would have done well with Dixie.
yeah.
Like I think I have this sensitivity to noise
Oh yeah.
and yeah, like loud chewing.
Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah.
I've been like, stop. Yeah, she was getting worse and
As the
worse
show went on.
throughout the show.
And again,
Yeah.
that could be a sign of like fatigue too or whatever. Although she did awesome. So another part of training that they had to do before the show was scent training. So I think I'm getting like the
Yeah.
more we talk about scent training and the more you watch it, I think I sort of like I'm starting to understand it more. So you you give the dog a scent and then like you start hiding it in different places, right? And then see if they can you teach them to mark the spot like to sit and bark like when they find it.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of scent training stuff and definitely like some of the dogs did and I was surprised at how Jax did the golden retriever. Like there were some dogs that
Yeah.
surprised me with the scent training cuz like it is a very like natural um instinct for like dogs like such as hounds and stuff like that, but I never imagined like golden retrievers being like these super scent trained
Yeah.
dogs. But there was one challenge when they were in Switzerland where there's like literally this like massive area with all these different mounds of snow and there's people hiding in
Oh,
in
yes.
certain ones, so your dog had to do the scent training. So they used birch oil, I think they kept saying on the show. That's what they used for a lot of
Mhm.
their training. So that's what they would put birch oil all around like the snowbank that had it and stuff. And I think Jax was one of the first ones to find somebody in the snowbank.
Yeah.
And I was like, huh, him of all people.
Way to
Way
go,
to go,
Jax.
Jax. So,
Yeah, as the show went on, I felt like I was cheering on different dogs.
yeah.
Which one was your favorite?
Well, the one that I started to like more and more was now I'm not going to be able to remember his name, but it's like the border collie and then the young dude there. I should bring it up on the show here.
Oh,
Yes,
Ace or something
Ace.
like that?
Yes, Ace.
Yeah.
They were awesome.
I think they were like all around like the best.
Yep.
Like they were able to do everything.
Yeah, Mark Leblanc. Yeah,
Mark Leblanc.
Mark Leblanc. Mark Leblanc. And yeah, so and they're from Louisiana. So Mark and Ace grew up in South Louisiana. It's this like super adorable black and white, like tuxedo looking like border collie. He's just super
And
adorable.
he's like 10, isn't
Uh
he?
how does it say how old he is here?
I think he's older.
But you can like those are the ones as the show goes on that you can tell that like it was Ace carrying their team. So at the beginning of the show, they were like the show starts out with this helicopter that drops all these tug toys down. And so then all the contestants had to run and find the first tug toy that they can and then tug it with their dog to break it open, and it released a color. So you were either on the blue team or the green team. So, and then if you were, so whichever team made it across the finish line at the first challenge first, they were all safe. And then the second team had to do another challenge, and whoever came in last place had to leave the show. So that's the way it sort of went down. So Mark and his dog Ace, oh man,
Who is 10, by
who
the
is
way.
10,
I just found it, yeah.
they just were like almost on every challenge, like saving the day, man. Like it was crazy.
Yeah.
Like he did, like there was this one challenge, and I think it was like in Florence, Italy. So the challenge that their team had was they would get a clue of a place where to go in the city. And Florence, again, is like super packed, super narrow streets. The streets go up and down and numbers go different ways. Like it's a super confusing city to navigate through. And so they would have to make it to these different areas within the city where there would be a big sign with all these wooden slats with like different letters on them, like saying a street name, but different letters on each slat were highlighted by a color. Like there was like yellow letters, green letters,
Green
and
and
red,
red.
yeah,
I
letters.
think red.
And so then each slat had a rope on it, and the dogs had to tug it to line up the letters. And they had to like each station was a different color, so they had to line up. Like the dog would have to pull this way to get like the S down the middle, and then pull this one
Yeah,
so
so
that
you can imagine like sometimes they really just needed a gentle tug.
yes, exactly. And
Yeah, and that's
that's
hard
hard to
to
do, right?
hard
Because
to
like you
do
say
for a
tug,
dog.
and they pull the whole friggin' thing like off of off of the sign, right? And some dogs like weren't as good as, like I said, executing the commands. Like even I think like, and some dogs just didn't like the tugging, so you couldn't give them, like I could give Gibbs a rope and he'll play tug of war with me. And but that's like, again, you're teaching them. I've never taught him the command tug, but like you could tell that they all had the same training because they were using the same words to try to get their dogs to do
Yeah.
stuff. So when, for instance, if it was a scent challenge, like the avalanche one that I described, they would go search, 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 and that's telling the dog, okay, I have to look for this scent that we did our training with, right?
Yeah.
And tug, 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 like and doing that with tugging was like a huge part of a lot of different challenges. And then there was another one where a lot of the challenges too were like on uneven surfaces. So there was one challenge where they had to walk on this
Hmm.
rope bridge. And so like, and people don't even understand how hard that is with a dog. Like when I go to visit Michelle and I bring Gibbon there, going up the stairs in her apartment building, the stairs are like they don't have backs to them, so you can see down the stairs.
Right.
And it freaks Gibbon out like every time. And I have
Yeah.
to be like, come on, buddy, and like lead him up the stairs. So like going on a rope bridge,
That freaked Wiggum out
yeah,
too.
yeah, like
So yeah, going on a
yeah,
bridge
exactly,
that's just like open.
yeah. But again, part
That would freak me
well,
out.
exactly, it freaks humans out, right? But like you know, the dogs, it was a solid, but it's a rope bridge, so it doesn't have sturdiness to it, right? And it moves as you walk, and yes, that would freak like a ton of dogs out. And one of them couldn't do it. I think it was Jack's.
Yeah.
So
Jax. There was always like an alternate
yes,
route.
and
So they had to
they
take
made it
that.
very clear that they would look out for like putting the dogs under extreme stress. They wouldn't force them to do anything that they weren't comfortable with. So that was pretty good. But even yeah, so like even with the tugging, the other part of that, like you were saying about being gentle, is being to execute the command like leave it. So like tug, leave it, like that, you know what I mean? Like
Right.
the push and pull, if you will, to the tug command, which helped a lot of them. But during that challenge, it was like Ace that like had to do
It was Ace
everyone.
doing it
Yeah,
all.
Like
Yeah.
Ace carried the team. So I'm a huge fan of Ace and Mark. But it was
I really liked the Mohawk dog,
Kentucky and
because
Derby.
this dog,
Yep.
yeah. So this dog, I think, was a
Hmm.
rescue, and just the way he listened
Yeah.
to Kentucky,
Yes.
it's like he just rescued this dog and just really trained him well, like at home.
But
And you can see they have like this
yes.
bond, right?
Oh, big
And
time.
you, Derby was just really good at all the challenges too.
Derby just seemed like a super chill dog. So
Yeah.
a
There's a
Labradoodle,
lot
right?
of trust like between them.
Yes. Like, but he was just saying, like, they just seem like he seems like a pretty chillax guy.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, even when I when I brought Gibbon home for the first time, same thing. It was my boys were all off at camp, and I made a point of keeping things calm, especially with a super anxious dog, right? That's susceptible
Mm-hmm.
to the anxiety. And I think that dogs feed off of whatever your energy is, and that's
For
a perfect
sure.
example of it. Like, I'm sure he seems like a super laid back kind of guy. So the owner's name is Kentucky, and the dog's name is Derby, which is hilarious in itself. Anyways, and he just talks about all the. It's nice because you see the little snippets of the owners and talk about them and their relationship with their dog and stuff like that. And he took his dog surfing, and he at first he was trying to keep him on the beach waiting for him and stuff, but the dog kept wanting to come in the water, and then they were like on this wave, and then he was like, so he pulled, and the dog kept Derby kept swimming out to him all the time, so he just put the dog on the surfboard with him, and he said that Derby was surfing better than he was. So Derby was like awesome. There was like a paddleboard challenge, and
Yeah.
they just like nailed it,
Just
right?
like
Because like,
boom.
yeah, Derby was like, yeah, giddy up. Oh, we
This is our
boarding?
thing.
Cool. Yeah. Exactly. So it's just super cute. Like, there was a lot of different challenges where it gave certain dogs the ability to like really shine. You know what I mean?
During that paddleboard, when Snow was
Oh
on the
yes.
board
Yeah.
and she got her fur wet, all I could think of was like, oh no, her hair. I feel like that's what the owner was thinking. And I was like, oh my God, he's probably like, no.
Yeah, I know, because like they had just had it touched up like the day before too. So
Yeah.
Kentucky and Derby both have matching hairstyles. So he has a Labradoodle, and they have blue mohawks. So Kentucky has like a blue mohawk, and then he shaved her so that she has a big mohawk going down the center of her body, and he dyed it blue as well. So they're like matchy matchy, which is like amazing. And then there's another. I think Snow is just like a standard poodle, right?
Yeah. I think so.
and
Yeah.
and she he's a dog groomer, and he grooms celebrities' pets. Like, I think he groomed Usher's dog, right?
Yeah.
And so she has like a blue and pink like twisty horn
It's
coming
like
out
a
her forehead to make
unicorn.
her look like a unicorn. And then she has like cotton candy, it's like cotton candy pink and blue, like fur dyed around all of her feet, and then like I think her tail too, right? So it's
Yeah.
like she's like this little unicorn doggy. She's so cute, and she did
She's
so
so
well in
cute.
the competition too.
And he seems very nice.
Yes, he also seems like a super nice,
Yeah.
laid back dude. And so her name was Snow, and then Kentucky and Derby. So Derby and Snow, like, this was another thing that happened on the show that I thought was super cute, was their certain dogs took to each other and had these relationships. So whenever it was funny because Josh, Snow's owner, would get super frustrated with her sometimes because when they're doing a challenge, she was like, no, like, I want to go play with Derby. And he'd be like, focus, focus. And so there was one challenge where he literally could not get her to execute anything until Derby had
Oh
left
yeah.
the
That was the
challenge.
scent one,
And
right?
then, yeah, I think so. And then she was like, all right, fine. Like, and then like got to work and like did her thing. But like, that made me laugh like
That's
so
cute.
hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
A lot of
super
these
love that
people
one.
are now friends. Like
Yes.
they're a big presence on Instagram right now.
Hmm.
And there's a lot of pictures of them together. It's like they stayed buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very cute.
Yeah.
Like the like Josh and the other girl, I can't remember her name. They were
I
pretty
know.
close.
This is so bad because I watched it like literally like all day
Yeah.
yesterday, and my
She had a
short-term memory.
border collie mix also. The girl that like lived in a car
Yep.
with her dog. I can't remember her name, but
I'm
they
gonna find
definitely
her
stayed friends.
name. Yep. Mitra. Her name was
Mitra.
Mitra.
Right.
And she had Bosley.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they became friends. And then there's Lucy,
Yep. Lucy
who's a
and
big presence on Instagram, and Jax and his owner.
I'm like Lucy makes it so Lucy is like a mom of a very young family. She has like what is it like 3 or 4 kids at home or whatever,
Yes.
and they all like share like different emotional stories about their dogs and how they help them through different stuff in their lives and stuff like that. But Lucy was like playing all these super like young fit people, and she's like this mom of two children, and so she's away from her kids. She clearly put into the work and having a young family to like train a dog. That I admire her a lot too, and she makes it
Yes.
like
She made
definitely
it
to
really far.
yes, she did. So, and you could tell that like a lot of the challenges and stuff like that were really tough on her. Like she was
Yeah.
like that one in Vienna when they were running around trying to find the hot dog stands. Like she like
Yes.
I couldn't believe like she made it through that. Like they
Yes.
were that one, you could tell that all the traveling and everything was sort of catching up to them, and they were like exhausted,
Mm-hmm.
like totally and utterly exhausted at that challenge. They were like
But you never
crying.
know, right? Like you think you're the last
Exactly.
one, and then all of a sudden somebody gets lost, or,
Yeah.
they have trouble with the challenge, and then all of a sudden you're not last anymore.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you got to keep pushing, and it's hard when you're when you're exhausted
Oh my
and you're
god.
last.
Yeah. And there's like a
Yeah.
lot of challenges too where like people were saying that like the people were ready to give up, but like their dog is still working and they're like, "Oh my god." Like it's like, you sort of inspire each other
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that. But yeah, that looked oh, there was a couple of challenges where you could tell like it was just friggin' exhausting for them, and they cross the finish line and they literally like collapse and they're like, oh my god. And all the snippets where they're like, having like the one-on-one like interview with the person and their dog is right there with them, the dog is like always sleeping. I
It's
found that
true.
too. The dog is like always sleeping, and that's one thing that what I found very cute about the show too is like even in those like little one-on-one things, like there's one where the dog's like this guy is like having this super emotional like reveal about his dog. He's like, he carries me through every day, and like he pushes me to move forward, and then the dog just like makes this horrible snorting like sneeze sound, and he's like
Yes.
dude, he's like, I was trying to get deep here, man. It's just like the super like hilarious, and that's so what like dog ownership is like, right? Like
Yeah.
they're or like right in the middle of a challenge or super like when they're running to try to get in a cab, like a dog just has to poop and they're like, sorry, like they didn't edit all of that stuff out, right? Which is dogs gotta
Yeah,
poop,
that's
like
true.
like they
Oh,
a huge part of dog ownership.
yes. One of the challenges with that I thought was tough was the cricket one.
Yes,
Yeah,
that was a
that
tough
seemed
one.
that seemed tough, and you could see that the two girls at the end, like they were just exhausted.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So they had to like shoot this ball. How do you say this? Like in this little space, like when you play cricket. And then if they missed, the dog had to grab the ball and bring it back.
Yes.
And yeah,
See,
it
even
just
that,
seemed exhausting. And then they had to run to the finish line.
yeah. Yeah.
Ooh,
See, like sometimes I'm like I could do a show like that, and then you see all the running that's involved. I'm like, no, I could not. I would freaking I would die. I would
yeah.
pass out. My dog would have to like, unless I got like a super big dog and I just like brought a
You bring
little
a
like
horse.
rolly cart and just been like, pull, go Sheba, go.
Bring a mini horse.
Yeah, exactly.
Good luck, good luck, good luck, good luck, good luck,
Oh
good
my
luck.
god. But
I hope they do another one.
I I would imagine that they would. They probably got, like I said, like the dog industry is like super huge, and I bet you they got a lot of people who like watch that. Especially like
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of people who are very adventurous with their dogs too, right? Like they're There's people like even I constantly show off my gibbon at work to my colleagues. And so I have like all these beautiful photos of them. You can check them out
It's
on
like when people show
Instagram.
show
Like,
pictures of their kids, and I'm
yeah,
like,
no,
here's
no,
my dog.
yeah. Hey, I have kids and dogs, but the only pictures I show are my dog pics to people.
Oh,
Yeah, maybe I should show my kids too. I don't know, but everybody wants to see a doggy. Anyways,
yes.
like one of my colleagues was like, "Oh, so I have this beautiful photo of Gibbon like on the dock at our cottage, like at the edge of the dock." And he was like, "Oh, is he in a canoe?" And I was like, "No, because we cannot get like Gibbon in a canoe." And he's like, "Oh man," he's like, "I love going canoeing with my dog," and it's so cute. Like people do like a ton of stuff with their doggos, right?
Yeah. I want to bring mine paddleboarding.
Yes.
Yes. So that's something we're going to have to
Yeah, do
train
right
him.
out the get-go.
It sucks that I'm getting him like during winter, but
Oh, do you
I
want
guess
to
by the time it's like June, he'll be
do you
old
want
enough.
okay, the first time he sees water, I need to be there because like my favorite thing, and I did it with Gibbs, and I thought we filmed it, and I need to go back and look and see because I don't remember seeing it on my phone again after that. But anyways, for the first time when you take them swimming, you can like hold them by their underneath, like as a pup, and you just hover them above the water and their paws start going already, like the little paddles like this.
It's like it's
They're like,
automatic.
yeah, they're like air paddling. It's so cute. Gibbs did it when I was teaching him how to swim. It was
Oh,
amazing. I
I
love
think
that.
I traumatized Wiggum when he was a puppy.
Hmm.
He had a little kiddie pool in the backyard, and I just like dropped him in it.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Sink
So
or swim.
he would go for swims. He was always like hesitant until like he went into the water, and then
Yeah.
after that he was fine.
Yeah.
But he could never like jump off a dock.
Oh
Like
my
I've seen him
God.
jump and it's like a belly flop face first.
So we had this hilarious like so my mother-in-law has a pool, so that's where I took Gibbs as a pup like swimming first, and I would use the leash to gently lead him into the water. When he came in, yay, like lots of praise and stuff, and he would do a little loop and then go back to the stairs. And but we went up to the cottage shortly after that, and Becky is like an Olympic swimmer. She will swim for literally like
Mm.
45 minutes straight. Like it freaked me out at first. Like she started swimming across the lake when we first brought her up there, and I was like, oh my god, it's too far, she's gonna drown. And I'd be like, Becky, come back, come back, come back. And she would come back and come out of the water and be like, what, like look at you, like what, and then jump off the dock and swim equally as far again. And so my dad, she won't go in the boat either, but my dad will canoe up the lake and turn around, and Becky's swimming like right behind him, like
Oh
far.
wow.
Yeah. So we went up to the cottage, and I had our friend Nicole with us with her two Goldens, who again love the water. One of them, Harper especially,
Yes.
would not even get out of the lake. And so when we get up there, they're jumping off the dock. Becky's jumping off the dock. Her dogs are jumping off the dock. We're like, yay, doggies, jump, jump, yay! Like every splash, like and I remember Gibbs came down to the dock and was and just like looked up at me and like looked at the lake and jumped off of the dock. And I
Oh.
was like, what the? But then it was like
Peer pressure.
instant like regret. Like you could see the panic in his eyes, like, oh my God, why did I do this? And he was trying, like, rather than like swim around and get out like on the land, like on the sandy little beach area, he was trying to climb back onto the dock and
Oh
panicking. And I'm
no.
trying to pull him. And so Nicole, like, who was like at this near the side of the dock, had to swim around and rescue poor Gibbon. And I was like, they just so Nicole saved his life. She saved the day. But I just remember he was like, is this what you want me to do? Okay, like I'll jump off the dock. And then it was like, oh my God, why did I jump off the
What did
dock?
I do?
What have I done? I'm going to die. The panic in his eyes. It was like almost like the same panic like on our site in Fluff Stuff of Gibbon coming home from the breeder. That sheer panic in the eyeballs.
Oh,
But
the first time Wiggum went for a real swim, I was at a friend's cottage and I was in this like pedal boat thing,
mhm,
and I was getting further and further away from the edge of like the
mhm.
beach. And I think he panicked because I was like, he thought maybe I was like leaving him. So he like jumped in the water and he caught up to me and he was just like hanging on to the edge of the boat.
That is
Like,
so
where are
funny.
you
Like,
going?
come,
Like, let
come
me
back.
in. So he just kind
Oh,
of followed me.
that's funny.
Yeah.
That's super cute.
It's like, mommy. Mommy, mommy.
Come back. Come back. Um,
Can I show you something I made
yes, absolutely.
that I'll have to post a picture on Fluff Stuff?
Oh, is it a little doggy toque?
It's a little doggy toque and it has
Holes
holes
for the ears?
for the
Oh my
ears.
god. Oh my god, it's so cute. Oh,
Ta-da!
it's so cute. Oh, it's so cute.
So cute.
Toque for the pups. Puppy toques.
Toque for the. Oh, I was gonna say poop, but that doesn't work.
All right, so the pack on Amazon Prime, I would highly recommend.
Yes.
Boob. I would
And
boob
if
it.
you are going to watch it, I would also recommend that you stop listening to the podcast
Yes.
right now because I'm going to ask Heidi. She hasn't seen the last one.
Oh yeah, I missed the
I'm going
last
to ask her
episode.
who she thinks wins, and then I will tell her if she's right or wrong.
Okay.
And then once you've watched it, come back to the podcast.
All right.
Who do you
Can I
think? Who do
I
you think?
I think it's Mark and Ace.
Yes,
They
correct. Ding, ding,
would
ding,
have had
ding,
to. He was the smartest. He was on top of it right at the get-go. Like
Yeah,
and they
they
did
won.
and he had the like most consistent training for his doggo too. It
Yeah.
seemed like they were ace just aced the show.
He aced
Right from
everything.
yes, he did. All right. So you want to talk about celebs and their pets? I thought it would be like a good topic, but there's not really much out there. There's like a lot of
No.
TMZ photos of people with their pets, although in looking up our stuff, we found out some interesting things about certain celebs, like and their affinity to pets.
Mm-hmm. Do you want me to start?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to start with Patrick Stewart, or Star Trek guy.
Mm-hmm.
So, about 3 years ago, he fostered a pit bull, and he said that it changed his life and inspired him to stand up for the breed and to end discrimination about pit bulls. He partnered with the American Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to raise some awareness about the breed. And he fosters dogs and promotes them on his Facebook page.
Mm.
Now, if you go to his Facebook page, you will see his pit bull named Ginger, I believe.
Oh, cute.
And he also reads a sonnet every day from a book.
To his dogs?
No, to
Oh,
people
oh, to
watching.
people watching on Facebook?
Yeah, so he's
Oh.
like sitting down and he's like, sonnet 150. And then
That's
he reads a
hilarious.
sonnet. Yeah, every day he reads one. I guess he's up to like 150 something.
Noise.
Yeah.
Noise. So I found in my searches, of course, the Obamas. So after he was elected president, he promised his daughters apparently to get a hypoallergenic dog. And so they got Bo. And a lot of people know who Bo is. I know Barack mentions him in a lot of his interviews, but he is a male Portuguese water dog. And they kind of look similar to like golden doodles, except they're like black, some of them black and white, but very like doodly like looking. And
Yeah, they're cute.
and then in 2013 they got a second one, a female named Sunny, and it was I think Bo was gifted to them by another senator, and then I thought I remember them saying that they rescued the second one, Sunny, but I'm not sure, and it doesn't really say here on this website. So yes, there's the Obamas with their little floofs, and Bo and
Cute.
Sunny. Mm-hmm.
Bo and Sunny. All right. My
Okay.
next one is Zoe Deschanel
Mm-hmm.
from New Girl. I really like that show.
Yes.
She rescued two pups from the Bill Foundation in Los Angeles. So this foundation has rescued 2,200 dogs since 2000, since the year 2000, apparently. So on her birthday, her boyfriend told her that he was getting her a dog. So he brought her to some shelters, and they ended up at the Bill Foundation. She spotted this dog named Dot, but they told her that she only came with her sister. So the person working at the Bill Foundation told her that when they brought the two pups to the shelter, they went and got them from like another shelter, and they spotted Dot, and then they spotted this other dog that looked exactly like Dot in another cage. But the
Mm-hmm.
two dogs, they were in like two cages, but they couldn't see each other. So apparently, when they brought the two dogs out, it was like two sisters being reunited. Like they were like their tails were wagging, they were licking each other, like they were super
Oh.
excited to see them, to see each other. And apparently, their tags were just like a number apart.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So Zoe ended up rescuing both pups.
Oh, so cute.
Yeah. And there's pictures of them, and they're always like so close to each other. They're sleeping like
Oh.
back to back. It's like they're Velcro together. Very
Siamese
cute.
twins. Yes. My next one, and I'm not a huge fan of this person, but this makes me respect her a little bit more. But Ariana Grande. This article, and it might be an old one because I think she has more. It says that she has 9 rescue dogs and as well a pet pig. And
Called
she,
Piggy Smalls.
Piggy Smalls,
Yeah.
really? That's
Yeah.
hilarious. And she brings her pets on various talk shows and stuff like that. But apparently, she's a huge rescuer of les dogos.
Yes.
Impressive.
So I found out she is partnered with BarkBox,
Oh, yes.
and she brings adoptable dogs to shows
Mm-hmm.
during her honeymoon tour.
Mm-hmm.
So dogs could get adopted, and apparently she paid all the adoption fees.
That's amazing.
It's very nice.
That's
Yeah.
very, very nice. Good work for les dogos.
Ariana.
Yes.
My next one is Miley Cyrus.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm mentioning Miley because she rescued a dog from a organization that we've mentioned in our last episode, the
Mm-hmm.
Beagle Freedom Project.
Oh,
So
yes.
she apparently adopted over a dozen animals, which includes Barbie the Beagle.
Aw.
So she prevented Barbie from being a animal lab
Tester.
test
Yeah.
test animal lab.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Miley.
On that note, I'm gonna have a little story here. I can remember, of course, talking about dogs at work, and there was a med student who was with us that day, and he was saying that he stole his dog from a lab. So apparently there's like very strict rules about how like whenever you're doing research of any kind, like there is like big time ethics involved with it. And of course one of them is like the treatment of animals. So you can't like I've always wanted to see the research labs at work, and they're like, no, you can't come in there unless you are a researcher, like because again you don't want these animals exposed to like a whole ton of different people. And I don't know, like, it depends on what they're using them for, but anyways, this med student had said it was like the end of their project, and usually the animals are taken to be terminated, and it was like the night before, and he had talked to one of the people who ran the lab, and he was like, no, I'm gonna come and take this dog. And they were like, okay, sounds good. And they set it up, and he went home with the dog. So I
Aww.
thought that was super cool.
Yeah.
My next one is, of course, the Queen Elizabeth, who she
Ooh.
is also very well known for her tons and tons of corgis. So, Queen Elizabeth has owned more than 30 corgis since she became queen in
Wow.
1952, and most of them are a direct descendant of her first dog, Susan. And last year, her final royal corgi, Willow, passed away, leaving the queen with 2 dorgies. So a dorgie is a corgi dachshund mix, because they use them for hunting, right?
Yeah.
Though she soon adopted a corgi named Whisper after its owner, a former gamekeeper, passed away. So one of the staff people, I guess, passed away and had this another corgi named
Oh.
Whisper, which she took in gladly. Way to go, Queen Elizabeth.
The next one I'm going to talk about, I don't have much to say about this, but I thought it was pretty cute, is Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Mm-hmm.
He adopted a husky or husky mix. I can't really tell.
Mm-hmm.
He named his dog Dutch, apparently after one of his characters in a movie. He also has a pet donkey named Lulu, and they are apparently becoming best friends. Apparently Dutch was a little bit afraid of Lulu, but now they're warming up to each other, and there's actually a video on Instagram of the two together, and it's just adorable. So look it up.
Oh, so
You're gonna go
cute.
like, oh, oh.
Oh, so cute. So cute.
Mm-hmm.
The last one that I'll mention is Oprah. And I was chatting with Vero about this earlier. Like I can remember my mom was a huge Oprah fan. She still is. And so whenever I came home from school or whatever, it was always like on the show, and sometimes I would watch and sometimes I wouldn't. But I remember the episode where she gave like Caesar Milan his big, like anything Oprah touches turns to gold, right? She's like Midas touch to the max. So like I can remember she did an episode where she brought Caesar Milan to her house, and I think she has cocker spaniels, and they were talking about the teaching and stuff like that, and that's when Caesar just became like the next level like dog guru like throughout the states and stuff like that. So you know, that was sort of like a huge influence to his career, no doubt. But anyways, yeah, I just thought I'd mention that. But yeah, when you look up celebrities, you get a ton of pics and you wonder like, do you, how much they invest into the training of them, or do they just have people
Yeah.
that take care of them, you know what I mean? Like there's a lot of photos of celebs like walking their dog in like New York City and like stuff like this, or the ones with the tiny dogs carrying them around in their purses. And you and
Yeah.
I and like looking through a lot of the photos, like I wonder how much of it is like staged, and like, or if this is just like, you know, like, do are they using the dog as an accessory, or do like is this an actual like loved and pet? You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's probably both.
Yeah,
Probably some celebs, it's just like an accessory, but others are
and
really
well, yeah,
like
like some of
dogs
them
and
clearly, like Ariana Grande and Miley Cyrus, who are like adopting like tons of them, and
mm-hmm.
actually like actively getting involved in like organizations. Clearly, have like a love of animals, but yeah, some of the photos you're just like, that dog's an accessory, which
Yeah.
is fine if they still get adopted from somewhere.
Yeah. It's a better life than a shelter life for sure.
Yas.
Yeah, and that's it for me.
That's it for moi aussi.
Ooh.
Tune in next time on Let's Boop Snoots.
Let's boop snoots.
Bye.
Bye bye.